What is going on, guys? It is Pro Russian here, and today we're going to be having a little bit of Smite Xbox One gameplay running in the background because I wanted to talk today about the differences between the Smite Xbox One and the PC versions of the game. So, I've been meaning to make this video for a while now, but I've never really got around to it because I didn't really have the time, but I decided, seeing as I'm going to release a tier list video for the Xbox One, I thought this would go well with it. So I've been playing Xbox and streaming on the Xbox for a long time now. I've put hundreds of hours into this game and it just feels more comfortable for me using the controller. I do play on PC as well, I've got my PC Smite account, but I just find Xbox is more natural. Some people may disagree with this, but that's just my opinion on the matter. It means that all of my stats and all the ranked gameplay that I care about are on the Xbox, and I think Hi-Rez have done a very good job with the port. It works very well. It may seem strange to some PC players, and sometimes I do get confused if I've been playing PC for a while and I haven't been playing on Xbox. Sometimes it'll feel a little different and I'm not really sure what's going on for 1 or 2 games, but then I get back into it. So there are differences between the versions, and I decided to put these differences into 2 main categories that I'm going to talk about, and they come down to the build of the game and of course the controller. So the build of the game mainly comes down to patches and stuff. Obviously Xbox is always one patch behind at all times, we all know that. So we do see skins from some of the latest PC patches. So before the one with Circuit that has just come out a couple of days ago when this video was out, we got skins such as the Child Play Scylla and stuff from the previous patch. But we don't see any of the god balances, and we haven't seen Chiron yet. We don't see the new gods until a month later. We'll be expecting Chiron probably in a couple of days' time, maybe a week, so early to mid-December. And this means that sometimes we are in a different meta, because we don't see gods or item balances for at least a month before the PC. So when the Weakening Curse nerf came out, some people tried to apply this on Xbox, because they'd watched the PC game play, because there's not a lot of Xbox gameplay, I'm not gonna lie, and they got wrecked because it didn't work on Xbox yet. And this meant that sometimes the Xbox gods might be better than on PC because some of their nerfs haven't come out, people haven't been buffed, and I'll be interested actually to see if they bring the Xbox up to speed or with the PC tier for Worlds, because it'd be quite interesting to see if the Xbox is in a slightly different meta, if they bring out some massive balancing changes before Worlds just for PC. Will they come to Xbox, or will Xbox be slightly different? Most likely they would balance them out in some ways so they are similar, but we'll see how that happens. So our VGS is also very limited, and this actually really frustrates me. It's annoying when you are not joining a party in ranked play and you're unable to talk properly. And I'll put up on screen right now a list of all the VGS commands that we can say on Xbox, and they're about a third of the PC ones, and this causes a lot of problems. For example, if we wanted to say that the enemies have returned middle, seeing as we don't have that command on the Xbox, we have to be a bit creative, and we'd have to spam the enemy missing middle button a couple of times, and then we'd have to spam the no VGS, and kind of hope that people understand what we're saying. It's the same with gank. You can only say gank left lane in the tactics section. You can't say I'll gank left lane, so if you are jungler in the mid lane running into gank duo lane, you would have to spam gank left lane and kind of hope the duo lane understands what you are talking about. It's a restrictive camera as well. It's also always on the Xbox, and some people don't care about this. Like, I know some of my friends had no idea that this even existed. And some people don't care, but I really like to have the option to look up the goddess's skirts, but mainly to see Thor in the sky and actually look down at your feet with a Ram or a Thor ult. If you want to come down in the same position, you can, but you can't really see where you're going, so you just have to hope. Although, I don't know why you'd be using Ram's ult in the Xbox, because that's another question. But Hi-Rez have said they are going to update both of these features, but they haven't given a specific time yet. They've just announced that they will, so we're not really sure when these are going to come out exactly. But the second and the main difference, of course, is the controller, which is different to the PC mouse and keyboard. So this affects a number of things. The simplest one, obviously, is abilities are harder to hit. So are the basics, for that matter. You're going to need more skill on the Xbox to hit these, a lot more practice. On PC, when I played PC, I found that it was incredibly easy. I never missed a basic or an ability unless someone was juking really, really hard. They are incredibly easy to hit, but on Xbox, not so much. It's actually quite annoying when you miss an ability, and it can make the difference in a team fight. So obviously, as everyone knows, Rama's ultimate is pretty much impossible to hit, but that's not the only reason he's not so good, which my tier list will explain. Scylla's ult is obviously very, very hard to hit. It's a lot easier to dodge than it is in the Xbox, especially when you can predict what the enemy god will do. So if you know that Ymir's running towards you, you know he's going to try and freeze. You just know what he's going to do, and you can dodge his freeze to the side, which is why Fatalis is more of a defensive item I find on the Xbox. I'll make a video on Fatalis hopefully at some point, so you can kind of understand why I talk a lot about this item. So roots and stuns are more valuable on Xbox because of this, because if you can root the person, then you can blow them up with their abilities without them being able to juke anything at all. And sensitivity is another main problem on the Xbox, which is why everyone knows Medusa's ult is more powerful on the Xbox. If you are facing Medusa head on in the lane and she activates her ultimate, with the standard sensitivity that the Xbox One version gives you, you can reach about 90 degrees away from her, and this will still turn you to stone if she starts, as you start to turn. Obviously, the answer you'd expect is just change up your sensitivity, but then you end up missing your abilities, so it's kind of a fine line. Although I would recommend turning up your sensitivity for other reasons that I'll also talk about now, such as escaping. So if you can find some sort of balanced line where your sensitivity is high enough to dodge some abilities and spin fast, but also enough to hit your own abilities, that would be the perfect example. So, talking about sensitivity and talking about escaping. So, for example, sensitivity means you're on a very low turn speed. So if you are Medusa in lane and you get ganked and you're alone and you want to run for it, so you'll need to turn and dash, because Medusa's dash is in a straight line directly forwards, which will take slightly longer than it will on the PC, and you may think this doesn't really make much of a difference, but it's enough to get a couple more ticks of Berserker's Barrage onto you, which is why I find escapes like Neith's Backflip or Isis's Wing Gust are much more valuable on the Xbox. You don't have to turn, you can immediately jump out of danger. Rama's Rama's roll is the best escape on the Xbox because you can go in any direction you want instantly, which is kind of annoying because the rest of his kit is so lacking on the Xbox and it's really not made for it. I also personally prefer the store on the Xbox due to the fact that I feel it's easier to navigate. It's built with the controller in mind, so it's slower to navigate, obviously, due to the slower scroll speed of the controller direction and sensitivity. So there's no scrolling on the Xbox store. You immediately just go straight in and all the items are laid out on a page in front of you. You can't type though, which really doesn't make that much of a difference because once you learn where everything is, everything's already laid out perfectly for you. It's very easy to find items, and the best feature I find is that you can buy a certain tier of an item just by clicking the fully built items picture. So while you're on PC, you have to click on it and then the little tree will pop up on the right hand side. You have to go into the tree and click the item you can afford up the tier. On Xbox, it will automatically buy you as high as you can afford in the tiers on the item. If you click on from the main store section of the menu, if you click from that on the item, it will instantly buy you up the highest tier. Due to the controller, the button's kind of difficult as well. So it's a 2-button press to activate consumable rather than the 1 keyboard one, which does cause some problems. It's much faster to activate this, and so consumables are kind of annoying to do if you're trying to activate a health potion in the middle of a fight or something, or anything like that. If you're trying to activate an Aegis, your reaction is going to be slower, so it's kind of annoying if you want to deal with an execute from an Alquang or an execute or a Poseidon ultimate Kraken coming out. And some abilities, like for example Scylla's Sentinel, is slightly different, and thinking of Scylla, her other abilities are also slightly different. So while on PC, to activate the Sentinel, would press your number key to activate your ability. I have mine set to QE R and T just for personal preference. But you click to activate it with that, and then you click the mouse button and you will activate your ability. If you want to teleport to the Sentinel to escape, or for example, our other abilities, if you want to detonate the Crush, you'd want to press the number key again, and you couldn't click. When I first played, I was clicking away and wondering why the hell I wasn't teleporting it or activating it. On the Xbox, you can hit your corresponding button, so A, B, and you can hit RT to then activate it, or you can hit A again, the same as on PC. But if you can then press RT again to teleport, instead of pressing B, A, or anything like that, RT will teleport you directly to the Sentinel after activating it. So it's kind of faster, in my opinion, to activate these kind of things. So these differences do seem kind of minor, and there are more smaller ones, but they can affect the way you play the Xbox version quite massively. So I'd recommend you watch my tier list video as well to accompany this, and subscribe, because I'll put out various videos later on to learn how to play gods, how to work them well on the Xbox, which items works well, and help players strategize on the Xbox. But I hope you leave a like and a comment if you didn't understand anything, or tell me your thoughts on the Smite, or any differences you have, or things that you really don't feel affect the gameplay that much, and I will see you next time.